on the right, the antifreeze.
The one on the right is the antifreeze. Why do you say the one on the right is the antifreeze?
Because I used to taste antifreeze when I was working in the garage.
That's what happened to all our hair, right?
That's right.
The one on the right, I hate to tell you, is actually the Gatorade. It's a little bit lighter in color than the antifreeze, yeah.
So the antifreeze on the left?
Yep, antifreeze on the left. Yeah. The reason we have that up there is that is something I do, and that I encourage people not to put things in unlabeled containers.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. All right, that's part of my job. My name is Bob Keneal, and I was hired 2 years ago to educate people in poison control measures. All right, what is the Poison Control Center? That's what we're doing. I have 2 videos, or 2 presentations we can do. I have the old-fashioned stand up and lecture. I was 31 years a middle school teacher, math and science. Right?
So I'm pretty sure he can keep us in order.
Maybe.
Or I can do a game. A game? Oh, okay, well, good game. I knew that was going to happen. All right, here we go. That's me. I'm this Robert Keneal as opposed to that Robert Keneal. There are 2 of us. I'm the Robert Keneal who unfortunately is famous for writing books and teaching. The other one is famous for being a math genius. I don't know where he came from. His grandfather was a genius. He's a genius, but I don't know where he came from. He works at Travelers now. He used to be at Limerick. Okay, so we're going to do the game. I promise you, the questions are so hard, you're going to cry and go home disappointed. No. All right, there's our phone number. If you ever have an emergency, this is one of the best jobs I've ever had. That number, it rings in the office, and I don't have to answer it. There's a reason why I don't have to answer it, but it's the only job I've ever had. 31 years of teaching. I have 20 years of newspaper writing. That's why they hired me. Because they were looking for someone who was either a journalist or an educator. I happen to have been both. Right? I always had to answer the phone. This one I don't have to answer because I'm not allowed to answer. She will sit on me if I go to answer the phone. All right? But that's our emergency phone number, 1-800-222-1222. It's been around since the 2002. Yes, I actually have that slide. Yep.
And I won't sing you the jingle because that would be cruel. That's my gift to all of you.
I was told you would be interested in the history of the poison control as well as what poison control does. So I prepared that. Right? Okay, so this is what my boss says. Stuff happens. So how can we help? All right? And she taught me well. She says, we do this because there's a lot of older people who feel that it's an inconvenience to us if they call us. All right? My mother, God bless her, she died 2.5 years ago. She had Alzheimer's. She had one of those buttons. Yeah. She slipped on the ice in the driveway and laid there for an hour because she was too embarrassed to push the button. She didn't want to make the firemen come out in the cold.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Heard that.
So we understand that, right?
Yeah.
All right. My boss also says, no question is too important not to be asked. Right? So if you have questions tonight, please ask. One of us should be able to answer. If not, we can always get you the answer. And finally, my boss says,
I have a question.
sure.
How come you don't have a 3-digit number for emergency poison control?
They haven't moved that for us, into that.
So
There's
the
911.
Cliff's notes of that is politics.
Yeah.
Because you're never going to remember that number if you're sick.
Well, I have one on my refrigerator.
Yeah, if you
Oh, cell phone.
Uh-huh.
You can put it into your cell phone, of course. You know, and when I teach senior citizens this, I have them literally pull out their cell phone and type it in as a contact.
Thank you.
Yep. I mean, my job is to answer the phone. It's not an inconvenience. All right, that goes back to that, you know, I don't want to push the button. Yeah. All right. Any questions so far? Wow. Quiet crowd. Hey, true or false? We understand true or false?
Yes.
Okay. You do? Okay. No, the answer is true or false, not yes. You can tell I've been doing this. Unintentional poisoning only happened to children.
False.
False? Okay. Maybe this is too easy. Poisons happen to people all ages, children under 5, teens, adults, older adults. The Poison Control Center has 4 main jobs. You know, we have a bunch of things that go underneath, but 4 main jobs. One, of course, is to answer the phone when the parent is frantic and needs help, right? Another one of our jobs is to collect the data of all those phone calls and look for trends. So this is some of that data. All right? Last year, 11,566 cases,
Wow.
or 45% were children. Right? 13,917 cases that we handled, 55% were people over 19.
What kind of cases were they? Were they kids, you know, 19 and up?
You're stealing my presentation.
Okay.
They are.
They taking drugs?
All different things.
Yeah.
All different things. Some of them are work related, some are intentional, some are, you know, some are reactions to medicines they didn't know there would be a reaction to. All right? Okay. So, last year, 2022, 25,000, well, if we round it up, 26,000 cases. All right? Now, a case, I must explain this, otherwise she'll fire me tomorrow. A case is not one phone call. Okay? A case is a phone call plus a follow-up or a follow-up or a follow as needed. It's whatever has to happen. Right? It's one individual and their contacts. Is that a better way of saying it?
Yep.
Look at that. She's taking notes over.
No, I remembered something for myself.
I feel like I'm being evaluated by my principal.
You're pretty safe.
All right. Part of our job, you know, answering the phone and solving emergencies is also answering for informational calls. Such as, I went to the doctor yesterday, he gave me this pill, is it going to react? I forgot to ask, is he going to react to this pill? Right?
Call the pharmacy.
No, they're not always open.
Oh, I know.
We're open 24 hours, 7 days a week. So yes, that's part of our job. Right? Informational. Question?
No.
No.
Unbelievable.
Are you recognizing something? Yes. I get that all the time. I get people who want to share their life stories. Oh yeah, I remember when that. Yeah. This is what I do. This is awesome. All right. Our age. We had 2,759 cases last year
That's over
of
my
people
age.
over 65.
Yeah.
A lot of that is that phone call in the middle of the night by a spouse saying, oh, he or she woke up and took a second dose of their heart medicine.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Yeah.
What should I do?
Pray.
Yep.
Coffee morning.
Like a vomit.
Yep. I mean, you know, so that's understandable.
Put your finger down.
You know, over 60.
It's coming.
It's coming. Ooh.
It's coming.
Ooh.
It's close. It's coming.
A young one, huh?
No, not that young.
Yeah, well, hey, you're younger than me.
I don't think so.
This goes back to what you wanted to know. All right, of our cases last year, just about 60% were unintentional. Those were accidents.
Yeah.
Those are like, I took an extra dose and I didn't think about it. Those are, oh, I told you, I couldn't answer the phone. But someone made me sit next to them while they answered the phone. And there was this frantic mother. I remember the first phone call. Do you remember this? I see, it sticks to me. Frantic mother going, my daughter, you know, she drank liquid bandage. Do you know what liquid bandage is? Anybody?
Is that like, for like Hudson?
Yeah, it's a bottle.
Basically glue.
It's a bottle that you pour it on to, you know.
Band-Aid, yeah.
Yeah. And she's panicked. You can hear the little girl in the back screaming her eyes out. And someone in this tone, and I'm not going to exaggerate, this is the tone. Oh, from what I remember, liquid bandage has this horrible smell. Would you do me a favor? Would you pick up your daughter and have her breathe on you? Do you hear that tone? It calmed that mother right down. It was amazing. Goes, do you smell that? And she goes, oh no. Well, then she didn't get much. Isn't that nice? That was the tone. She goes, and your daughter, is she crying because you took the bottle away, or is she crying because she swallowed it? Oh, I took the bottle away. Yeah. Leave it to me. Yeah. That's what all our, we call them spies. They're the operators, the ladies who answer and the gentlemen who answer the phone. Their designation is it's special
Special
poison information. They are certified in that.
I was gonna say, what is their training?
Okay.
That's coming.
It's coming, but that's all right. We can do it, because the question comes first, okay?
We plant these questions in the audience.
Yes. I'm not allowed to answer the phone. I have my bachelor's. I have my master's. She doesn't claim it yet, but I have almost a doctorate. It's called a 6th year in education, right? I'm not allowed to answer the phone. To answer the phone at a poison control center, you must be an RN, a doctor, or a pharmacist. So what is their training? Medical background training. And then they get certified beyond that. Yeah. Did I answer your question? Okay. I always have to point out the intentional ones. I've been doing a lot of work with suicide prevention as part of my job. And we've broken that data down. And that tends to be like I hate to say this, the young ladies, 12, 13 to say 25, who are taking those drugs to harm themselves. Young men at that age are taking the drugs just to experiment, not to harm themselves. It's interesting, that little twist in data. That's also once in the state of Connecticut. You're lucky you live in the state of Connecticut. All right, our number there is high in the state of Connecticut because all our first responders are required to report to the Poison Control Center any overdose case that they respond to. So in other states, that number is not as high as ours. And it's because we require the data. Am I saying that correctly?
Are you then obliged to follow up with every one of
Yes.
these
Yes.
overdoses?
Yep. We see that now.
It's a lot of work.
Yes.
I bet you see the same people time and time again too.
Less than you would think.
Really?
You know, there's sort of a conception that, yeah, it's the same people again and again, but really, we only hear about people when they get in trouble.
Yeah.
And often people do things and don't get in trouble, and that's why they do it again and again. Until one day they either take a little too much, or circumstances are different than they were, or their drug dealer is not doing very good quality control.
So, these are the intentionals.
Yes.
What would that follow-up look like? I mean, say you get a report from New Hartford ambulance, that they picked up a kid, and so now you know the person's name, where they live, what's the follow-up?
The hospital.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, they've gone to the hospital.
We contact the hospital.
Okay, and
Then the hospital has,
Yeah. Part of our job, again, one of those 4 things, part of our job is to work with healthcare professionals
okay,
to help treat whoever is in front of them.
okay.
So so we work with the hospital not just this poor mother, at home with
Right.
her daughter. We work with the doctors and the nurses
To make sure that they
are treated,
know what to do.
yes,
With all the hospitals?
with all the hospitals. I'm sure you're gonna tell a snake bite story, right?
Of course.
Okay, all I will
You
say.
can tell your snake bite story, I'm gonna
Okay.
tell one that you hadn't heard probably.
Okay, I will say this, Connecticut has 2 poisonous snakes. So when someone goes to an emergency room in Connecticut with a snake bite, those doctors and nurses probably have never seen anything like that. We, on the other hand, can be in contact with snake bite experts around the country. There are 55 poison control centers in the country. And, our expertise is here, but we have experts all
How
around.
many here's the next question, how many snake bites do you get?
Was it like 3?
A handful,
Yeah.
usually less than a dozen a year,
Who
of venomous snakes.
Venom.
We get calls about non-venomous snakes as well.
Who has the anti-venom?
The
Hospitals.
Some of the
So
hospitals,
that's the way
yeah.
it works. I was gonna say, if they
Yeah,
have
I
it,
don't
I'm
know why
gonna
they
call
would
them
call you
first.
for a snake bite, that's crazy. I would call 911.
No, they would,
911's gonna call us.
yes,
Really?
yes. It's not the person who's been bit who's calling us, it's the emergency medical or the
Huh,
hospital
Really?
that is calling us.
Huh.
All right, can I go from this?
Yes, thank you.
All right, last year, all right, we had 2 years ago, 27,000 cases, and 2020 there was 26,000 cases. All right, so we're about the same. COVID, non-COVID, it's about the same. Good point. I do a lot of CO training, and I watch the data. The numbers of deaths have gone down, but the number of exposures has gone up. True or false? Here we go. Are you ready? It's gonna be a hard one. Poisons happen only in the kitchen or in the laundry.
No.
No.
False? You told me that they were not.
They also happen in the conservatory with Colonel Mustard, but.
Yes. They happen all over, right? They can happen anywhere.
Mustard in the conservatory.
Yeah, the gasoline in the garage. Yeah, CO, when someone puts their, generator next to an open window so that they can hear if it runs out of gas. You laugh.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I did that.
Yeah. Someone brings in their grill when their stove is not working.
Yeah.
They can happen anywhere, right? I should pause first. I love this. We have posters. I get to go around, to all these places, and I love this one, the poison purse poster. You think about what's inside your purse. I was in South Windsor on Tuesday, and I didn't hold the poster up. I just said, imagine what's inside your purse. Oh, I got nothing. I said, do you have lipstick? Yeah. That's poisonous. Do you have a little thing of Tylenol? Oh, yeah. And we just go on and on. I said, I've been married 40 years. I know what's in a purse. I'm not allowed to touch it, but I know what's in a purse. And she hits me with it. Oh, does it hurt?
Why lipstick?
The chemical makeup lipstick, if a child chews on it.
Oh, okay, so it's
Not on you.
No.
I was gonna say, we're getting poisoned every day.
Yes.
Right.
It's like arsenic, it's a lot of time.
Yeah. Slowly. Wow, am I doing good? Locations from our cases last year, 57% were calls were from home, or cases were from the house. All right. I like this. This doesn't near to me. The 23%, that's other. That could be like the EMT response to a body at the park. Okay. 18% were from healthcare providers. All right. I want you to notice schools, workplace, they're not even on that. Do you remember growing up, you always had the safe workspace education? Well, it paid off. I taught for 31 years in public schools. I appreciate the fact that it's not even up there. You know, I can remember when they switched over to chemicals, we have this beautiful orange smelling cleaning chemical in schools. Doesn't clean, but it's beautifully smelling, you know. We can't use fantastic in schools because of the toxicity. Did I say that right? Toxicity, yeah, right? Questions? No questions yet? All right, I have a note that more than 70% of the people who called, get their help over the phone, and that every dollar that's spent on poison control saves about $13 in your medical expenses. So you think about that poor mother who called, if she had to have taken her daughter to the emergency room, first off, she wouldn't have been treated right away. You know, and then, you know, so hours upon that, and her insurance would have had to cover that, and this was treated at home. Right? True or false? Uh-oh. The Poison Control Center is only an emergency call center, whether for a healthcare provider or home care. Oh, thank you. You've been paying attention. All right, that's false. Answering emergency calls is just one of several important missions. All right, here we go. These are long, fast, and quick. Our informational calls. Most of our calls last year were referrals. Drug information. Policemen. All right? They can call us up and say, I found this pill. School nurses love us. I found this. Is it?
Yeah.
Right? They can call us. We can identify a pill. You know? We can identify plants. You know? My son ate this. Okay. Well, congratulations. I'm sorry. All right? So, here we go to the history.
Okay.
Timeline. 1953, we opened the first one. All right, 58, the National Association of Poison Control. All right, 61, Congressional Establishment of National Poison Prevention Week. And in 2002 is 1-800-200-2000. Yeah, 222-1222.
So when you say the opening of the first U.S. poison center, was that in Connecticut?
Ah, thank you for asking. Okay. The breakdown. All right, the history. I wrote it all out, but I won't let you. You don't want to read it.
No.
Okay. And after the Second World War, people began to notice that there were a lot of accidental poisonings, and in the Chicago area, one particular lady working with a doctor began to write down how to treat these, and she literally came up with 1,000 index cards of poisons and treatments. And that is where we started.
In Chicago.
In Chicago. And from there, those index cards were reproduced in order to be spread around the country. Is that a good yes,
How do you,
in a nutshell.
on the pills, medications, how do you identify that over the phone? By the number?
Number, and they will probably ask you for a picture, and then they can match it up with,
Wow, we've been friendly.
yes. I had one lady, oh, you got a book with all of them in it. And no, we're all on the computer now.
Get the encyclopedia
Yeah,
out.
the encyclopedia out.
I used to have a book,
Yes.
and by the time we received it, it was already obsolete,
Yep.
so made
So,
nice
yeah.
store stock.
Number, color, size, picture, and then that will match it too. All right. We provide, all right, emergency medical information. That's one of our most important things to public. All right. So we talked about that. All right. We also, come on, go. All right. We charge no fees for services. We're available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. All right. We provide education. And literally, I have talked to seniors, I've talked to school nurses, I've talked to EMTs, I have talked to school students, I have, and now I'm talking to a historical society.
What's the size of your department?
Good question.
Are the whole department here?
Yeah, I was just
My-
looking at it.
You're looking at it. Here I am. I'm the education, I'm the only educator right now, but we have enough operators or spies to man the phone. There's 2 shifts a day, or 3 shifts?
3 shifts a day.
3 shifts a day, 2 to 3 people on each time.
So there's 14 poison specialists.
Yeah.
We have a medical director, I'm the managing director, we have an administrative person, we have Bob, and then we're in the process of getting one more like IT data person.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's like 16 people.
And what's the funding?
Your tax dollars at work. And both federal, we get some federal grant money. We have some studies that we get paid for, that we do, data collection. Largely it's state funded. Unlike some places, poison centers are very variable in how they are funded. For example, Texas has a surcharge on everybody's phone bill. And that funds emergency services, including their poison centers, of which they have 6.
Yeah.
So, because it's a big place.
Yes.
And other poison centers are independent and have to go out and basically beat the bushes to get funding. Others are hosted by hospitals who provide some funding, so it's really variable.
Don't give away my last question.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll shut up.
Okay,
No, that's
Yeah, I
nice.
mean,
Thank you for that.
yes. There are some states that have multiple centers. Connecticut has 1, all right?
Well, there's 55 in the country and 6 of them are in Texas.
Yeah,
Who doesn't have one?
okay, here you go. Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont share 1, and it's in
Okay.
Portland, Maine.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
But with the technology we have,
Yeah.
you know, it's amazing. Okay, I've been there 2 years, and I have only met 2 of the operators or spies or, phone answerers. I've met only 2, and neither one at the work site. They filled in for me, or doing, All right, we perform research and surveillance. That data we collect, we use to look for trends. All right, are you going to talk about this?
Keep going.
No, okay,
You're good.
all right, I just, wanted to give.
Yep, no, you're good.
I didn't want to step on your toes. Anyway, the data we use, melatonin, boy, I can't speak today.
Yeah.
You have to excuse me, it's been a long day. I was named vice president of my historical society a couple months ago.
Look at you.
Today, Eastern Connecticut was out at my site to videotape me. I write on historical column for the newspaper, and so I did one on tobacco, and so they were doing a movie on tobacco in Connecticut, and so they were out interviewing me. And tomorrow is our 200th anniversary of the town,
Which historical society?
Manchester Historical Society. So excuse me if
No,
my
that's
mouse is here.
interesting to know.
All right, so melatonin
Yeah.
is one of those things that we've been watching a trend going up, especially with the gummies. Cannabis in the
Yeah.
gummies is another one of those. So the data that we're collecting will help us pick out. Are you gonna talk about the grout?
The grout?
The grout,
Not gonna talk about the grout.
okay.
I'd like to know what the poison level of melatonin is.
We're finding it
What's the
affecting
trend with that?
the children
Wow.
who are getting into the gummies that their parents are leaving out.
Okay.
Right. So the effect on children, is we've seen a spike in certain areas.
But it's usually the gummies.
Yes. She told me a story. I love this story too. My family is all construction. My grandfather was a builder. My father was a finished carpenter by trade. And she told me about the spray-on grout that came from Europe. And that they saw through data, they saw this group of plumbers in particular being exposed. And they weren't sure why. And then they began to think, oh, they're spraying on the grout inside a room with no windows. And so that spray-on grout is no longer on the market.
So what was it causing, like cancer or something?
It was like a CO reaction
It was
or
a lung injury, I
lung
think, yeah.
injury, yeah.
Yeah, lung.
Moving along is probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Information we questions about interaction and drugs, we talked about that. We provide education materials, all right, like anything I have up here, your organization, you yourself can order some. I'm the one who goes in and ships it out to you. You can have my favorite poster. I purposely do this to seniors. I move it way over here and say,
In the dark, yeah.
yes, I say, which one is the candy and which one is the medicine? Yeah. It's my favorite poster because there is so many lookalikes out there.
Can you just leave that with us for a second? I'll pass it along.
Then you can pass it along.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. So we have, do I have another copy? I was gonna say, I think I have another copy. I can start on the other side of the room. Yeah.
M&Ms, or you will?
I have another copy.
M&Ms or?
It's scary. How many things look alike? And I think I've hit everything. For your information, every 8 minutes or so, the data that we are collecting is put into the national data information. And so I can call that up at any time. And then that was our start. I didn't want to, I make that nice and simple, yeah. That was the 55 places.
Good and plain.
That's our national organization. Again, I summarized it so that you wouldn't have to read all those.
It looks like for the Institute of Technology, there's fewer
Yeah.
because it's, yeah.
And it's partly because of technology, and it's partly because of funding. New York used to have 6 poison centers, plus one that was an educational center, and they now have 2 to cover the whole state of New York.
And they have to work with me on the various national committees. They're gonna go down to 1 soon. True or false, you ready? Next to my last question. Poison Control Center is located at UConn and Source.
Yes, true.
True. True. Who says true? You said true? I hate to tell you, you're wrong. It's in Farmington.
Somebody had to be wrong.
Ah, that's why I didn't want you. It's actually in Farmington. And that's the health center. We're actually way down here, out of the picture. We're in the administration office. So if you ever been to Farmington, and this is our, we cover the whole state. All right, last question. Anyone can be a member of the emergency phone service? No, right? I was saying that, but I'd rather answer the question before him. All right, there's a picture of some of our lovelies about 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Longer than
Yeah,
that.
I pulled that off of one of your old presentation things. All right, so currently,
You can tell by the old computers that don't
Yeah.
have flat screens.
yeah, currently they're all trained and certified. We are all doctors, pharmacists, and nurses. All right, we get about 100 calls a day because I know that's going to be one of your questions. 77% of poisonings can be treated at home, and for each dollar spent, you're saving about $13 for health care.
So explain, trained, and certified.
Okay? Good one.
Go for it.
Okay? Say I'm a pharmacist, all right? So I'm trained to be a pharmacist.
Uh-huh.
And then certified is that specialty in poison information.
I know, you must train them in what
Yes.
kinds of calls and what
Yep.
kinds of answers.
Yes.
And things that you don't learn in pharmacy school, like snake bites.
So
And
how long is that training for?
If they're full-time, it's at least a year.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And in order to sit for the exam, before they can sit for the certification exam, they have to have worked 1,200 hours and managed 2,000 human exposures.
Wow.
Wow. What's the motivation? Why do
Why would you want to do that?
why do they wanna do that? I'm glad they do, but.
It's really interesting.
I was gonna say, that's funny.
So some of us really, really like it. It's like emergency medicine, only it's cleaner, nobody kicks on your shoes.
Yeah.
And it's really, there's always something new.
Right.
And the other thing, at least for me, is it's something worth doing. We do save lives. And I think that's worthy of doing.
Gratification.
Yeah, my brother-in-law is a doctor, and he only works emergency room. He couldn't few others, but he likes that
Yeah.
fast pace, yeah. Alright, and so in review, boom, these are the things what we do, you know, we help, we advance healthcare, we, have our poison prevention week, real-time data collection, and we're free, confidential, and, we're available, most of our stuff is in different languages, so we can help out.
Are you communicating with other agencies if you see a trend in
Yep.
certain kinds of
Yes.
activities,
Yep.
or situations?
So this is one of our posters, I like this poster, because it shows out what is available, or what could be poisonous. Again, I deal a lot with, older people who have children back in the home again. You know, a lot of us grandparents have to babysit our grandchildren. I had to child-proof my house. Alright, and alright, so, no cost, no bother, no questions unanswered, and no waiting, open 24 hours, 7 days a week. Any questions?
Can I access that online, that last poster online?
Yes,
Right there.
you can order it from us.
I mean, I can just look at it online.
Yes, yep. Here's our,
Picture.
Do you have anything to do with hazardous waste?
only if someone's exposed to it,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you have any resistance to people calling because they're concerned about anonymity?
Once in a while, people are reluctant, and really the only reason we collect your name and your phone number is if we need to call you back. If the call is dropped for whatever reason, or, you know, we need to call you back. And personally, what I will say, if somebody doesn't wanna tell me their name, just tell me your first name. Cause I feel really uncomfortable speaking to somebody that I don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
You know, it just seems so impolite to me to not have at least a first name to speak to, but different specialists handle that differently.
So I put together a bag of what we call goodies. One is on poison plants. This is an actual pamphlet that was created in Connecticut. Okay, and then I have our typical poison control center.
Number?
Yep.
Yeah, good.
I have for you our Facebook, our Twitter accounts, and our email, so you didn't have to write it down. I have it there
Okay.
for you. I have a first aid pamphlet. I have the wonderful stickers who, somebody who I won't mention by name, used to say we'd stick them on the phone in the kitchen that's hanging on the wall.
Yeah.
I say, no, stick it on the back of your cell
Cell
phone.
phone.
Some of us still have a phone hanging on the wall in the
Yeah.
kitchen.
Yeah.
I do too. Yes,
I did.
I answer it in German because anyone who would call that phone would not be my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do anything like with tips and that kind of thing?
It's, yeah,
Yeah, we'll answer questions about ticks.
You will?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
I gave you a magnet.
We
that you
try
can
really
stick
hard
on.
to answer everything that you throw at us.
Okay.
And if we don't, if it's not something that we usually handle, for example, some poison centers take care of rabies calls.
Yes.
We don't really manage rabies calls, but we do know who to refer you to.
Got it.
And really the kind of level of risk,
Mm.
if you get bit by a mouse, usually that's not a problem.
Yeah.
There are some mammals that could carry rabies but usually
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
and others that are much more worrisome.
Mhm.
Raccoons.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Right. Skunk.
Raccoons, yeah. Raccoon rabies, yes, skunks,
My wife.
bats.
I've been bitten by a raccoon.
Yeah.
Kathy, how often do you get calls at home? Not from the public, but from your staff who are baffled by a question or something?
More than you want.
Well, the joke is the answer in toxicology is always it depends.
Right,
And the reason it's a joke is because it's true.
right.
So